Hello and welcome to the Exotic Fruits YouTube channel. My name's Imogen, I'm part of the Exotic Fruits team, and if you don't know us, Exotic Fruits is the UK's #1 online exotic fruit marketplace on a mission to bring extraordinary fruits from all over the world right to your doorstep. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the unique snake fruit. I have two different varieties of snake fruit here with me. I've got the Salak Pondoh and the Salak Bali. I'm going to tell you what makes these two varieties so different. I'm also going to talk about their history and culture. I'm going to talk about their growing and cultivation, and then I'm going to show you how to open and prepare the snake fruit ready for eating. I'm going to do a taste test, and then I'm going to talk about its incredible health benefits. So let's just get straight into it. But before I do, if you're a fan of the exotic and you're a fan of fruits, then I think we might just be the perfect match. So hit the subscribe button down below right now. Done? Okay, cool. First and foremost, let me introduce you to snake fruit and talk a little bit about what makes these varieties different from one another. So snake fruit belongs to the palm family, which is the same fruit that coconuts, dates, acai berries, oil palm fruit, peach palm fruit, jelly palm fruit, and a few more rare, unique fruits come from. So you can probably guess why it's called snake fruit. If you look at its skin, it's got these small scales that resemble the skin of a snake. But as you can see, these two varieties do look quite different from one another. Now the appearances can vary, especially in terms of colour, but you'll usually find that the Salak Pondoh is larger, and it also has smoother scales. Like when I touch this, it feels pretty smooth. The Salak Bali, on the other hand, tends to be smaller and thinner, and these scales are a lot more prominent in texture. In fact, some of these are actually quite sharp to the touch. They also do look different on the inside, but I will cut them open and show you that a little bit later on. Now, these both originate from Indonesia, but the Salak Pondoh is primarily from central Java, whilst the Salak Bali is from, can you guess? Bali. In terms of flavour and texture, the Salak Pondoh tends to be a lot more firm and crunchy, while the Salak Bali is a lot more juicy, and their flavours are very, very different, but I will get into that a lot more later on in the taste test, so stay tuned for that. They are both usually eaten fresh, that's the most common way that they're enjoyed, but the Salak Bali type is also used in traditional dishes, more so than the Salak Pondoh. Okay, let's talk about the history and culture of snake fruit. So as I mentioned, snake fruit is indigenous to Indonesia, and it's known to have been cultivated there for centuries. Snake fruit spread from Indonesia to the rest of the world, mainly through increased international tourism and trade, which then introduced the fruit to new markets and consumers globally. Local communities in Indonesia enjoy snake fruit often as just a tasty, fresh snack, but it's also used in traditional dishes such as rujak salak, which is essentially a fruit salad made with snake fruit and typically mango, pineapple, cucumber, and it's usually dressed with this spicy, tangy sauce made with tamarind, palm sugar, chili and salt. Sounds delicious. Or salak goreng, which sounds even nicer in my opinion. It's essentially just deep fried battered snake fruit, and it's often enjoyed with some kind of dipping sauce. As well as being an integral part of local diets in Indonesia, snake fruit is also commonly offered in religious ceremonies or used in traditional medicine for its health benefits, which we will get into a little bit more later on. Okay, now I want to talk to you about the growing and cultivation of snake fruit. So snake fruit grows on a specific species of palm tree, which thrives in warm subtropical climates like in Indonesia. They're also now found growing in Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and even Australia. These palm trees require a well-draining soil, moderate water, and partial to full sunlight. They're typically planted from seed or from suckers taken from mature plants, and the trees tend to bear fruit 3 to 4 years after planting. Harvesting is usually done by hand as the fruits grow in clusters quite near to the base of the tree. These trees require regular pruning to remove dead leaves and improve air circulation, and they require fertilization from either organic or chemical fertilizers to ensure healthy growth and fruit production. Right, let's get into how to prepare the snake fruit ready for eating. So it's pretty simple and it applies to both varieties. You literally just want to peel away the skin. It's easiest to start at the kind of pointed tip of the snake fruit, and you can just do this with your fingers, or if you want to, you can use a small knife. Sometimes it's quite satisfying to kind of cut around the edge and then pull the skin off, but you just want to be careful that you're not going to cut through the flesh inside, as the skin is very thin. When you peel away the skin of the Salak barley, I feel like you can always just instantly smell it. It has a really, really strong fragrance. And as I do this, you're going to see that these are actually really, really different inside. So as you can see, the Salak barley has more of a brown yellow hue to its flesh, and it also doesn't have any segments, whereas the Salak Pondoh is a lot more white in colour and it has 3 segments. Just listen to the sound of this skin. And with the Salak Pondoh, once you've peeled off the skin, you can obviously just break those segments apart. Salak Pondoh also does have a smell, but it's definitely a lot less strong. So these can obviously be eaten raw as a fresh snack, which I'm going to do in a minute. But they can also be used in salads, desserts, traditional dishes like I explained earlier. They're sometimes even candied with sugar and a little bit of lime juice for a super, super, super sweet treat, which sounds really nice. Or they can even be thinly sliced, marinated in salt water, and then fried to make crisps or chips, whatever you want to call it, which also sounds delicious. So they're actually a very, very versatile fruit. Right, let's get into tasting. I'm going to start with the Salak barley on my left. Like I said, the smell is kind of musky, I want to say. This is actually a lot juicier than most of the Salak barleys I've tried. So initially, it's quite firm in texture. So the outer part of the flesh is like dry and quite firm, and when you bite through that, it's then juicier inside. And there's this big seed in the middle, so you want to be careful of that. It's like tangy with a slight bitterness and a slight kind of musky aromatic vibe to it. It's also subtly sweet. Yeah, I've never had one that's this juicy before. The tanginess is quite sharp, which I actually really enjoy. It's definitely got a lot of flavour to it, like it's not bland whatsoever. It's a really hard flavour to describe because it's very unique. Like, I'm trying to think of something that I can compare it to kind of explain what it's like, but I really can't think of anything. I guess it's kind of like pineapple-y a little bit. Okay, let's try the Salak Pondoh. So this one's a lot more firm and crunchy and much, much less juicy. It's definitely a lot more dry. It's also more fibrous, and the flavour of this is like really, really fragrant. It's like almost soapy. I don't know what the word is for that. I think it's sweeter than the Salak barley, and then it's got those like very floral, fragrant, almost soapy notes as well. Again, very, very flavourful, not mild whatsoever. They're both really, really rich in flavour. It's kind of like, initially, when you first start eating it, it's just the fragrance of it is like so powerful. And then as you're chewing it and like your mouth starts digesting it, I guess, it becomes a lot sweeter. They are just both so incredibly different, but they have such unique flavors as well. Like, they're not like anything else I've ever tried, and they're very hard to explain, which makes my job really difficult. Right, now that we've tasted it, let's talk about the health benefits of snake fruit. So snake fruit is really rich in vitamins A, C and B. Its high vitamin C content is really, really good for your immune system and keeping you healthy and fighting against diseases. The high vitamin A content is really good for your eyes and your vision and your eye health, which is why people say that carrots help you see in the dark, because they're really high in vitamin A. I think that's why anyway. They're also a great source of minerals such as potassium, calcium and iron, and they're pretty high in dietary fibre. So high fibre is obviously really, really good for your digestive system and helps to prevent problems like constipation. Snake fruit can give you a natural energy boost because they're a great source of natural sugars and carbohydrates. They're also a really good choice if you're trying to improve your skin. So they're filled with antioxidants and vitamins, which are known to help reduce signs of aging and improve skin texture, things like that. And their high antioxidant content is also really good for preventing oxidative stress and protecting you from free radicals. So that's essentially anything, like, there's so many things in everyday life that you come into contact with which cause oxidative stress, such as stress, inflammation, pollution, chemicals, fried processed foods, alcohol. There's so many things. It's impossible to avoid. So eating things high in antioxidants is really, really good to counteract all of that bad stuff. And they're also just very low in calories but really rich in nutrients. So it's a great choice if you're watching your weight and you want a nice snack. I mean, that really applies to all fruits, to be honest. But yeah. And there you have it, the very unique snake fruit in both its varieties. There's actually more than 2 varieties. These are just the only ones that I have. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Have you tried snake fruit before? Which one do you think sounds better? Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!